Here to Mahesh Jetmalani as well. Let's now move on to the other story that we're tracking, and this is a big one too. On the night of the 2nd of April, a man entered the Alappuzha-Kannur Executive Express. He sprayed an inflammable liquid on passengers, setting them on fire. It left 3 people who tried to escape by jumping off the train. They were dead, which includes a mother and her child. While the accused managed to escape, the police recovered a bag, there were some writings, a phone that was linked to a person from Uttar Pradesh, and today the accused person has been arrested. It was a joint team of the Central Intelligence and Maharashtra Anti-Terror Squad which nabbed Shahrukh Saifi from Ratnagiri railway station in Maharashtra. Here's why you should pay attention to this story. Alright, so here's how the accused was traced. The Maharashtra ATS and central agencies zeroed in on Shahrukh Saifi with the help of his phone. Top intel sources have told CNN News 18 that a diary and a mobile phone were recovered from the spot of the fire. The fire happened in Kozhikode 3 nights ago. The phone recovered was without a SIM card, and on the basis of the IMEI number of that phone, it was traced to Shaheen Bagh in Delhi. When the police contacted the family, they told the police that their son was missing and that they had registered a missing persons report. Sources say that 6 of Shahrukh Saifi's phones were then put on surveillance after his family recorded their statement. Sources also say that one of the phones got switched on around 1:30 a.m. and the Maharashtra ATS was informed about the location where this phone was switched on. After being alerted, the local police team immediately rushed to the Ratnagiri hospital. Reaching the hospital there, the cops were informed that a man with injuries had come, but he later ran away. A manhunt was then subsequently launched and the whole area was searched. Shahrukh Saifi was later found at the Ratnagiri station. The accused was arrested in a joint operation around 1:30 a.m. He will be handed over to the Kerala police after completing formalities. The Kerala police would seek his transit remand from the local magistrate and then will take him eventually to Kerala. Now, agency sources are also telling CNN News 18 that as of now, the initial probe seems to suggest that it was an act of terror. The accused had 6 mobile phones. He's also confessed to buying inflammable liquid. He has admitted that his aim was to set people on fire. This is what transpired over the last 3 days from that fateful night at the Kozhikode railway station to the early hours of this morning when Shahrukh Saifi was apprehended.
अभी भी जो एटीएस है, केरल एटीएस है, वो यहाँ पर मौजूद है। जो जानकारी मिली है उसके मुताबिक डीवाईएसपी के नेतृत्व में एक एटीएस की टीम यहाँ पर पहुंची है पूछताछ करने के लिए। लगातार सारे सबूत इकट्ठा किए जा रहे हैं कि आखिर क्या मकसद शाहरुख सैफी का था।
मैं तो ये कहना चाहूँगा, अगर वो दोषी है तो उसको सजा दी जाए।
जुड़ा हुआ भी था
कहीं किसी का नहीं, किसी का कुछ नंबर कुछ तो मिलता। अगर वो ऐसा कुछ होता तो घर में कुछ तो मिलता, तो घर में कुछ नहीं मिला।
All right, I want to open this up because this is not a case in isolation. Let's absolutely be very clear about this. We saw in Mangalore the terror attack that happened a few months ago. In Coimbatore, the attempted terror attack that happened a few months ago. All of this, it was very, very clear that there are these lone wolf type attacks that are happening. What happened in Kozhikode, at least from the preliminary information on prima facie, it seems like it was an attempted act of terror, and in this case, a lone wolf attack as well. So is there a concern in some parts of southern India of these lone wolf attacks, which is not being taken seriously enough, either by the local administration there, or they're not able to connect the dots to this larger pattern that seems to be emerging? Let me now go across to our guests who are joining us. KJ Alphonse is a BJP leader, former minister. Professor Dinesh Varshni, leader of the CPI, and Vikram Singh is former IPS officer, former DGP of Uttar Pradesh. KJ Alphonse, is there a reluctance? I mean, even after this man, Shahrukh Saifi, was nabbed from Ratnagiri, there hasn't been an acknowledgement either from the state government or even the police have not openly said that this seems prima facie a case of terror. Is there a reluctance to look at these one-off cases, these lone wolf cases, and link it to a larger pattern of terror even after the evidence suggests the contrary?
Zach, I think, according to me, the investigation has to be very scientific. It has to proceed. It has to be done with the assistance of central agencies, NIA especially, because this appears to have much wider ramification than a one-off attack by a single individual. To me, this action fits in perfectly with the definition of terror. When you do an act which is likely to cause strike terror in the hearts of people, or in a group of people, which is likely to cause death or injury, that is a definition of what a terror act can be. And therefore, to me, it's an act of terror. Of course, congratulations, first of all, to the Maharashtra police for apprehending the accused so fast and very quickly. And now, I guess, it should not involve just the Kerala police to whom the accused is being handed over. I think it should involve also much wider investigations by the National Investigation Agency and such other agencies which can be involved, because I've been warning repeatedly that there is a huge rise of fundamentalism in this country, especially state of Kerala, which leads individuals to believe in certain things, which leads to actions which are completely detrimental to the interests of society, and in some cases to actions which are even which can be classified as terrorist actions. So I really think state governments all across the country, irrespective of to which party they belong to, they need to take much stricter action against fundamentalist elements who voice who are at liberty today to say whatever they want and get away. I think state governments have to be much more forthcoming in taking action against these people, so that this kind of things are not repeated.
Okay.
Now, I hope there will be a proper, serious investigation, and then we come to the root cause of what is the reason and what kind of an action. Is it a lone wolf action, or is it something much bigger which was at
So Professor Dinesh Varshini of the CPI, we have seen similar attacks or attempted attacks in Coimbatore a few months ago. We saw this in Mangalore again a few months ago. There are these cases that are coming up from time to time, one individual or two individuals at best, for no rhyme or reason. I mean, here again, this man who has been accused and who's been taken into custody now is apparently a carpenter from Delhi. He went all the way to Kerala and set on fire two people or three people in a train. He had no connection with these people. There was no prior relationship or any kind of acquaintance between the people who died and this man. It was purely an alleged act of terror. Now, why is it that even in this case, the state government of Kerala has been very reluctant to view this or call this as an act of terror? Why is that?
Look, Jaka, until the investigations are completed, until the leads is collected and establishment has been collected, no state government will be able to say this is act of such and such or not or yes. So you have to wait. I assure the people of India and the Kerala, the investigation will be honest and nobody will be spared. He may be working a conduit to somebody, or he may be a conduit of someone. So we have to look into that also, because there is an attempt by the communal organizations of India to disturb the peace of the entire South India, especially Kerala, Tamil Nadu, wherever the BJP government is not there. So that angle has to be seen, and other angles has to be seen. We condemn this attack, and we have full sympathy with those who have been burnt, and we believe that they will get the justice, and they will get the justice.
No, Professor Varshini, all I'm asking is, give me 10 seconds. Give me 10 seconds. All I'm asking is, please give me a plausible explanation for why a carpenter from Delhi should go all the way to Kerala and try to set a train compartment on fire, and three people who died were trying to jump out of that compartment from a moving train, have no connection with this man. I mean, it's not a personal rivalry, it's not personal animosity. He probably doesn't even know who these victims are. It is purely an act of hatred, of terror, more than hatred. Why are the investigating agencies and why is the state not willing to see it for what it is?
Look, Jaka, it can be, it may not be. So we have to wait now. You cannot reach to the conclusion without the proper investigation. He has just been arrested, detained. Let us see what has happened and let us see who is there. He may be working as a conduit to somebody. Earlier also this has happened.
Okay.
That in South India, in Tamil Nadu, that Bihari labor, and then what happened? So these type of things are happening, and we definitely believe that these type of elements should not be supported. These type of elements should not be allowed to go scot-free.
Okay.
And we will not allow them to go
So let me ask Vikram Singh, as a former police officer, as a former DGP, Vikram Singh, the fear is this, that ISIS as an organization may be dismantled, may have very little presence in Syria and Iraq and so on, but there are these lone wolf cases that seem to be coming to the fore. Like I said, we saw this in Mangalore, we saw this in Coimbatore, now we're seeing this in Kozhikode, and of course this man has been arrested from Ratnagiri in Maharashtra. Is our system prepared for such lone wolf attacks? And more importantly, is enough being done to A, recognize this problem, and B, counter this problem?
Zaka, you put a very forthright question, and I would say beginning from number 1, in a scale of 1 is to 10, whereas we should have been somewhere around 9 out of 10 to contain and control these situations, I would say that we are something around 4 out of 10 and miles to go before we sleep. Number 2, in respect of radicalization, investigation, and proper analysis and proper isolation of these cases, I think we indeed have to take it to a different level. But yes, we are fast learners. We have learned, we have been able to emasculate Simi, Indian Mujahideen and other such outfits. But coming down to Kerala, if the professor's hands were chopped off, we chose to look the other way. It was after some time that the culprits were caught and given a sentence. Then what you mentioned about Mangalore also was a lone wolf attack. And here also the reluctance with which our people in Kerala are not willing to say that it is a terrorist and a lone wolf attack. All the ingredients of fundamentalism, radicalization, and the terror attack are there, except for the fact that the confession of Shahrukh is not there. But the fact of the matter is, Zaka, that the footprints and the fingerprints scream right across that it is a terror attack. It's a matter of satisfaction that the Kerala police, the Maharashtra police, and also the intelligence inputs from central agencies have gone and to contribute the arrest of Shahrukh. But yes, this synergy and this cooperation and coordination is so very important. But for the ban on the PFI, which also appeared to be controversial. In what was it controversial? We should see that the foreign funding, the radicalization aspects, the teaching and the curriculum of the so-called institutions need to be monitored so that there is no radicalization.
Okay.
There is no human trafficking across to Syria and Afghanistan.
I'll give the final word to KJ Alphonse. Even after the PFI has been banned, there is a view that they are working under different other pseudonyms and other, the political wing of the PFI, for example, has not been banned. They're using other names and other conduits to continue operating. That's number 1. And number 2, there is also the fear, Mr. Alphonse, and help allay these fears, that the agencies, the BJP-led government is probably taking it too far, because you can't just solve this problem by the long arm of the law. You need de-radicalization centers. You need to bring these folks into the mainstream, and just by looking at it as a legal/policing problem, you may not be able to solve it.
Very true.
Saka, this is a policing problem because Kerala has been radicalized beyond recognition. Here we have the former DGP saying, look at what the response of Kerala government was when the hands of Professor Joseph was chopped off. Everybody disowned him. From that moment onwards, the radical elements have such a huge foothold in Kerala, such radical elements, and the state government is doing nothing. So this kind of things are bound to happen, and let me tell you, the only way we can deal with this kind of situations is a very simple, straightforward action. I don't think you can have a soft hand to deal with this kind of things. The largest number of recruits to the ISIS are from Kerala, and the kind of mindset which is there with certain segments of society out there, is very scary. So I think the government of India is absolutely on the right track. They need to be very tough on this, and we need to eliminate these forces.
All right, we'll leave it at that. We'll see how this story plays out, not just in this specific instance where one accused, the main accused, has been arrested. He's now being taken into transit into Kerala, but also this larger, wider phenomena of these lone wolf, perhaps ISIS-inspired or perhaps other radical terror organizations inspired, which is happening in southern India. It is a real problem. There seems to be a pattern emerging, but are our law enforcement agencies, are our political parties, our local governments equipped or even, coming to terms with the gravity of this problem? We'll see how this plays out. Thanks very much in the meanwhile to all our guests for joining us. I want to move on to